you ever hear a sound so creepy that your whole body knows something is wrong before your brain catches up? Because that's what happened to me on my block. And to this day, I still don't go outside after midnight. So this happened last summer. It was hot, the kind of night where nobody in the neighborhood could sleep. Windows were open, people had fans running, dogs barking every now and then. Normal hood sounds. But around 12:47 a.m., everything went quiet. And I mean too quiet. No cars, no music, no voices, nothing. Then I heard whistling. Not loud, not close, just somewhere down the street. At first, I didn't think much of it. I figured it was just some drunk dude walking home or somebody being weird. But then I noticed something. The whistle wasn't moving. It was the same little tune over and over again, coming from the exact same spot near the streetlight across from the abandoned house at the end of the block. Now everybody in my neighborhood knows that house. Boarded windows, overgrown yard. Nobody's lived there in years. So I look through my blinds, just enough to peek out. And there's a man standing under the streetlight. Tall, skinny, hood up, hands behind his back, not moving, just whistling. Same tune, again, and again, and again. I'm staring at this dude for maybe 20 seconds trying to figure out who he is. Then my phone buzzes. It's my cousin Marcus from 2 houses down. He texts me, "Don't look at him." I just freeze. Then another text comes in. He's been standing outside my window for 10 minutes. My stomach dropped, because if he was outside Marcus's window, I called Marcus immediately. He picked up whispering, sounding terrified. He said he heard whistling right outside his room, so he looked out, and there was a man in a hoodie just standing there in his yard, hands behind his back, whistling. Same tune.
I told him, that's impossible. He's across the street right now. And right as I said that, the man under the streetlight stopped whistling, just dead silent. Then slowly, he turned his head and looked directly at my window. I couldn't even breathe, and in this voice, low and raspy like he hadn't spoken in years, he said, "If you can see me, I can come inside." I dropped to the floor so fast I almost broke my phone. Marcus started screaming through the speaker, yelling that somebody was tapping on his glass. Not knocking, tapping like fingernails. Then all the dogs on the block started losing it at the exact same time. People's porch lights came on, doors opened, everybody started shouting, trying to see what was going on. And just like that, the whistling stopped. The tapping stopped. Everything stopped. Next morning, Marcus had marks on his window. Long scratch marks, like somebody dragged knives across the glass. And under my streetlight, there was nothing. No footprints, no trash, no sign anybody had been there. Except for one thing. Right where he stood, someone had scratched a message into the metal pole. It said, "Next time, don't look away."
You shouldn't be here. There are some blocks in New York where people don't get robbed, they don't get jumped. They just see something and never walk that way again. I used to think those were just hood stories, until one summer night in Brooklyn, something under a streetlight said my name without ever opening its mouth. And after that, I never cut through that block again. I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn. And if you're really from New York, then you already know, some streets change when the sun goes down. Not in a normal way either. I'm not talking about crime. I'm not talking about random dudes on the corner. I mean the whole energy of the block shifts. Like the air gets heavier, like the street gets too quiet. like something is there, and it's waiting for you to notice it. This happened when I was 17. It was deep summer, hot enough that even at 1 in the morning, the heat was still sitting on the sidewalks. My shirt was sticking to my back, my phone battery was almost dead, and my mom's had already called me 3 times, telling me to get home. I had been at my cousin Dre's building all night, playing 2K, talking trash, arguing over stupid stuff. Regular summer night. So when I left, I took a shortcut. And that's really where this whole thing started. There was this side street off Linden I used to cut through sometimes. In the daytime, it looked normal. Corner store, old heads outside, kids running around, a busted hydrant leaking into the curb. Nothing weird. But at night, that block looked sick. Half the streetlights worked. The other half flickered like they were fighting to stay alive. Everything had this yellow, dirty glow to it. And the second I turned down that block, I felt it. That silence. No cars. No music from windows. No people talking on stoops. No sirens. Nothing. And in Brooklyn, that kind of silence is wrong. That's when I saw her, standing under one of the streetlights, still. Just completely still. She had on this long gray coat, which already made no sense because it was hot as hell outside. Her head was tilted down so I couldn't see her face, and at first I told myself she was just some lady waiting for somebody, so I kept walking. But the closer I got, the more my body started picking up on something my brain didn't want to accept. It was her feet. Her feet weren't touching the ground. I stopped immediately, not because I was trying to be brave, not because I was trying to figure it out. My body just locked up. The streetlight above her was buzzing now, loud, aggressive, like a nest of bees trapped inside glass. And then, slowly, she lifted her head. I wish I never looked at her face, because it looked almost human, but not all the way. Her eyes were too wide, her smile stretched too far. Then she spoke, and I need you to understand this part. Her mouth barely moved, but I heard the voice anyway, not from her, from everywhere. Every hair on my body stood up. I took one slow step back. She didn't move, but somehow she was closer. That was enough for me. I turned around and started moving fast, not running yet, just fast, because in that moment I had this feeling, this ugly, sinking feeling that if I ran, it would chase me. And then, right by my ear, I hear it again. I ran. Phone flew out my pocket, didn't stop, didn't care. And behind me, it wasn't footsteps. It sounded like something wet, fast. I hit the corner, almost got clipped by a cab and ran straight into the bodega on the avenue. The guy behind the counter looked at me once and said, "You saw her, didn't you?"
Turn back. Now. This is DarkVision 13.
In this part of New York, danger does not knock. It watches from above. Every night, the block chooses someone to follow. Tonight, it chose him. He thought the night was empty. Then the night landed right beside him. She came close enough to strike, but something in her held back. He should have run. Instead, he looked closer. Some connections are not built on trust. They are built on survival. But the night was not done with them. It was only getting started. That was the moment he learned she was not chasing him. She was protecting him. Even monsters get tired. Even legends need someone to carry them. Above the sirens, above the fear, they finally saw each other clearly. In a city that hunts the different, 2 outcasts became the last thing the night expected: hope.